Joy of Functional Game Dev, Project 1, Episode 4. Hey. At the end of the last episode, we had ourselves at this point where we can move the smiley face around. He can move out the screen. Can he out the screen this way? Sure he can. And while he can there's also a $sign being rendered. He cannot acquire it. So we're actually still behind of where we were at the end of episode 1, but we did achieve having a graphical user interface. So let's try this time to get there and exceed what we were doing. So take a look over on GitHub. The release that we're on is v0.3. End of episode 1, end of episode 3, start of episode 4. And go back over to the Trello board. I'll go over to the Trello board and take a look. Do we have a smiley face? We do, kind of. So we're gonna add a features in progress. So this will be our feature tracker. That we got, and that we got. These things we have there. Now, fortunately, move to monogame. We have done this. We are done. We move to monogame. One thing, we show score. Add a label to it that says, I know how I want to do this. I want to do it off on this. I want to do it off on the side. And the number goes up whenever this happens. So, let's put the 60-second game timer in for the things we want to finish up today. Now, we'll see how well we do. Let me set my timer for something other than 15 hours. It was going down too slowly. Alright. Now, clap. Let's go. Does that make the smiley face and $sign work so that I can grab them, show the score, and put a 60-second game timer in? That's good, and hey, maybe we can get past it. And that would be cool too. Alright, let's get going. Because really one of the first things I wanted to do was, these are still 32 by 32. And I want them to be 36 by 36. So what I'm going to do is I'm loading up here over at Paintnet. And I'm going to see if a 36 point font will behave the way I want it to. Very strange colors. Okay, I really just want 255, 2550 because I'm very, very traditional in my RGB values. But maybe I want a fatter font. So let's do that, which can't see worth it nothing anyway, but I'm going to edit, invert, and the size is 21 by 41, so 36 isn't going to do us any good. Let's try again with I don't want 28, so let's go 30, because you can type that right in. And I should really remember, it's Control I. But the thing is, Control I, it's 18 by 34, so that's perfect. And the way that I like to do this is I'm going to put the canvas size at 4 by 4. Like so. It's actually a blank canvas, and then I'm going to paste it, and it's going to go, hey, it's that's too small. do you want to expand it and then canvas size it to 36 by 36 with it in the middle. And now we do have our 36 by 36. We chop out the white and we will save our texture for the $. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to be smart about this. We're going to make our background color alpha 0, so we don't have to do that chopping out of colors, hopefully. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go with wingdings. We're going to go with that color. And it is the capital letter J. No, oh, I don't. Stupid thing, I don't want that. Okay, 0 and 0. Go back over. Yeah, you two can watch me fail mightily at using a computer. Still J, and that's good. Control I was the. Oh, see, there's still that. Look at that. Still a little ghost of an image. So, I'm going to control. What's that there? So there's that. Where's the dollars? Ghost of a $. Alright, we're going to do this. We're going to get back down to you. There's still a ghosty $. I'm going to be upset. Control I to invert it. Control Shift X to get you 32 by 31. And we're going to change our canvas size to 36 by 36. No, not resize. Canvas size. 36 by 36. We're going to center that. And copy that out. Paste that in. Yes, expand the canvas. We don't need you anymore. We do need to save you. And you are saved already. And let's take a look at how well it's looking. Let me make sure that, oh, yep, they are checked, they are checked. Now we're going to see if we get screamed at for, well, there they are. And they are definitely, nope, they don't appear to be any bigger. So let's refresh. Is there a refresh? Let's rebuild. Build, clean, build. Because when I open it, it's, I should be able to tell better. Yeah, there it is. So now, we got bigger things, and so now we can also change our renderer over here in my game. And one of the other things we probably want to try and do is get rid of these magic numbers. Magic numbers are bad. And really, I don't want to deal with things in ints eventually anyway, because we don't have to deal with a whole tile at a time. But that's neither here nor there, and we will totally get to that. But so now I got 36 or 36. My board state, I can no longer go up to 22. I go up to 20 because we calculated before, and we'll do it again. Calc that we got 720 by 720, and we divide by 36, and we get 20. So we can see we got 20 by 20 grid at the moment. So that's perfectly there. Okay. So now we are cool. So next, I want to take a look at some of these things that are a little bit silly. So, for example, you may notice here's a very repetitive section of code. And in a repetitive section of code, one of the things I like to do is eliminate or contain the repetition in some sort of structure or collection that I can then use and expand more easily. So I'm going to go let movement table, call it a movement table, equals, and we're going to use tuples here. Keys dot up. Next we're going to use tuples and tuples. And I think it's down, left, right. That's a +1. That's goes -1 there, goes +1 there, gets 0 on that. And now make it pretty, because pretty code is better code. Do I really think that's true? You can tell by my tone. It's not that I don't value the pretty code. It's that I know in many cases like these that I'm going to add something else, and it's going to be longer than right, and then I have to spend a whole lot of time putting a whole lot of spaces. So really what I know is I bought myself some future trouble in maintenance by saying I want it to look like this aligned. But that's just kind of the nature of F# code, and it's a word that you will run into. And it's called idiomatic, and they'll talk about coding with the right idiom. And you're like, well, idiom, what does idiom mean? And I'll talk about that another time. In any case, getting back here, I'm going to take my sequence. I'm going to take a map. I'm going to make a map of my sequence. So now, movement table will be a map of keys to a tuple with 2 ints that give me my positions. And really, this thing right here, that sucks. If I want to use positions, these are my positions. Now, I could make a full-on, record. I could do this. I could go let type location equals x int y int, and I can certainly do that, and then we have x's and y's and so on and so forth. I don't think actually giving them a name is... We're going to experiment this time without doing that. We certainly can do that, but we're going to say that the location is an int star int. So we're going to say a location is that, and then this is really a map of keys to location. And more importantly, let add locations. And do we make it a sequence, or do we make it a... no. We're just going to add 2 of them. So first and second locations. We're going to do a thing. Let first x, first y equal first. Let second x, second y equals second. And then we're going to return first x plus second x, first y plus second y. And now, instead of all this jazz, right? Here we're gonna, because this is like, I don't, what am I reading? Find the correct. Yeah, we're gonna have delta add locations board state dot player. And this much more clear. So I take my delta. So I call it add locations or add location. I'll call it add. So even probably that's probably offset location. Whatever. This is a good enough name for now. We're adding the locations. So we take that, throw it on there, and now should still work. Let's find out. And hey, it looks like we are overdue for a, we'll check this works, and then we're overdue for a special segment. It works. So I'll see you in a few minutes. The functional programming concept of the day is idiom. So in any pursuit of F#, and actually in a number of functional programming languages, and really any language where white space is a part of your syntax, you'll eventually come to the concept of idiom, or being idiomatic, which is just based on the root word of idiom. And I thought, because when I first hear it, you kind of know what the word idiom means, but you're not really sure. And when you're not sure, it's time to go look it up and really condense what it really means. So here is when you go to Google and you ask, hey, define me idiom. The first thing that comes up is a group of words established by usage as having a meaning not deducible from those of the individual words. That's not the sense of idiom that we're talking about here. That's a figure of speech. 1A is a form of expression natural to a language, person, or group of people, and that is very much the sense of what we mean when we're talking about the F# idiom or the idiom of any language. And the dialect of a people or part of a country. I would definitely say that one applies here. The dialect of the F# people is the idiom that we're using, that we intend to use. My idiom is not that great because I'm still very deep in imperative programming. And this one I really liked, and this one I really think applies a whole lot to what it is we're talking about here. A characteristic mode of expression in music or art. And while really what we're doing is more mathematical, it also does have a musicality to it or an art to it. And the best way of explaining it is to go to a counterexample. And the best counterexample that I can think of is my own code. This is a GitHub gist that I made early on. And I knew practically nothing. I knew just enough to get some things done. And so let's take a look, shall we? So we take a look here, and we have a couple of types. They're discriminated unions, and one thing that is non-idiomatic is typically types have a capital first letter. At least I remember seeing that a lot. And then also, it's not a module. This is not a module at all. It's one big thing. And then I take all the choices and I put them into a list. I then have another list, because I knew how to do lists. I didn't even know the difference between list and sequence when I was writing this. And then here's the combinations and the results. Not knowing, actually knowing records, because here's, I'm about to make a record, but these are, I have the combination, and then a tuple combination to that. This is way better written as a function where it matches two things and then spits out the third thing. And this is really quite ugly because we take a look later. So this is a very bad idiom, very non-idiomatic, very hard to read for a person who is used to writing F# code, because it's like, dude, what are you doing? And I'll a lot of things I misunderstood how to use do. And then also, this is a something right here where this would have been way better as an active pattern. And this right here, this match is again. Oh, and then also, had no idea when making a record, you can just use the bits. We can just say game with round equals that, and so on. I was under the impression you had to specify everything, where these two things don't change at all, and these do. So, a very fine counterexample of being idiomatic and using the correct idiom. I have since improved a great deal, but I would say that at this point, I don't know that following me and my idiom is the best way to do it. I do make an effort to get better all the time. But one of the things is you try to find some experienced F# developers and you follow the idiom that they do. Examine how they do their stuff. But remember this. Idiom and idiomatic means nothing more than the following, and don't ever forget it. It means customary. Now get over yourself and be more idiomatic. And we're back. We're going to take this out. Their int star int is easy enough just to deal with on its own. It doesn't need a whole name. And we're going to get back to refactoring this into something a bit more intelligible. We've got the movement table, and we have this. And so let's go and say, we're going to do, instead of this, we're going to bind, not bind, we're going to say movement table, we got the keyboard state. Yeah, we still don't quite, I need a function to do this. So we're going to say let get, call it deltas, and we got a keyboard state. That's going to take a keyboard state oh, this is quite silly. Alright. Nope, we're going to do it a different way. So let movement keys. Okay, and that's going to be a sequence of keys up, keys down, keys left, keys right. Okay. So those are the movement keys. Let delta equal what? Determine delta equals movement keys for each, not a for each. Yeah, used to the C# codes. Movement keys, and we're going to sequence dot map on element. So we're going to go old board. We need old keyboard state. Old keyboard state, and then new keyboard state, and this is the key. So we have old keyboard state is, and doesn't know yet, so let's put some types on here so that we don't have this angry squiggles. Hold keyboard state dot is key down, voice key up, E, and keyboard state is key down, E. So now we have a set kind of, so I still need E. So I'm gonna throw E back out, and whether or not the thing is pressed. Well, we're gonna do a thing. All right. All right. We don't need it. So if that, then one thing, else another thing. If it's not, 0, 0 is that delta. Okay, yes, this is what I want to do. Then, actually then, I don't need this. I need movement table. I do. Because is there a convenient way? We will leave it for now. But I want a convenient way for having movement table to give me its keys. There is. But and I've used it before. But we'll leave this for now. So if that, then movement table dot E else 0, 0. Yes, that is what I want. So now determine delta is going to take a sequence of, take those and spit me out a sequence of indents. And then, what we're going to do is we're going to add them all up. We're going to use sequence reduce. We're going to use sequence reduce. We're going to use add location. And then determine delta becomes a give me your old keyboard state, and here's a new keyboard state, and here's the delta. Isn't that way better? So now delta equals determine delta. Keyboard state, and we throw the keyboard state on there. And we eliminate all of that stuff. It's actually board state. Hold the keyboard state, or dot. What is it called? Dot keyboard state. Oh my goodness! So now I've got that. And I got that, and it spits it out. Now, okay, I've double defined this. So here's this list, here's that list. I have to maintain it. Not really. And this is, I don't know if this is the preferred way of doing this. I also don't necessarily know that this style of make a lookup table for everything is a customary way of for most F# developers to do this. This is just how I code. So, but I'm not apologizing for it. So I'm going to take a movement table, which is a map, and I'm going to map to sequence, and then I'm going to sequence.map, and I've got fun kv. Just want the k. So now movement keys takes all of these items in there, spits them out into the same exact table that I have. But the difference being I can change this table. I can add keys dot space and give that a 0, 0 because I don't want it doing anything, but maybe I want something else to happen. But so, not that there would be any other spell, or I teleport something. But so I can add to that, and then my movement key still works the same, and then I don't have to worry about maintaining two lists or two sequences of things. That's just how I likes to do it. So even this right here, I could take something that takes a key and yields a delta. And why don't we do that? Let's call look up delta for key, and here's the key, and it I also need the old keyboard state and the new keyboard state. And E is not the guy anymore. His name is now Key. See, or really, I don't need this at all. So so I can go if, maybe this is a better way, movement table contains key, and then movement table key, else. I'm also thinking I could do a try find and then a bind. But this will do for now. Map, and look up the delta for the key. What are we looking for? Oh, but I still need the move. Do I still need the movement keys? I still do need the movement keys. Well, my goodness. I'll put it back. Sequence. Oh, you can see me do this twice. Sequence map. Fun. KV. 2K. I have used this a lot, and because I've used it a lot, I notice it's not. I don't see a. So I can keys to A. But given a. Oh, so I got to do the old. Ugh. Hate being off by a character there. So the old one, C, and the new one. Alright, and parentheses. Sweet. And we've been spending a lot of time on keyboard input. Let's make sure it still works. Hey, it still does. Now how about we actually make this do something. So we're going to move the avatar, and we're going to see, so after we've moved the avatar, let's see, did he, so if, ooh, I don't want to do that. Alright, let's look. Got these things. This is eat dollar. I wonder if I could still use this. I think I can. I really think I can. Now that would be fantastic. Okay, so draw game, update game. Where am I at? Board state? New avatar. Eat dollar. And here that is, and I'm going to pipe that through eat dollar. Will that work? If it does, I think it will. Because I think the logic remains sound. Our board state remained the same. Boink, boink. Yeah, oh yeah. And that's what? And anytime you're writing something in C#, you write something that works, and then you write another something that works. And you change. Okay, now I've changed everything, but now I've got yeah. This is not normally like nope. You have to completely write the thing because now you've got it in a graphical thing. But that's I've designed it in a way because the renderer is completely separate from the game. Because, and this is a really important thing. This is something that I do. There are a lot of really great advances in tools that will allow you to make games. There's Unity and a lot of frameworks, a lot of things, a lot of JavaScript frameworks, Construct 2 and Phaser and all those. The thing that I dislike about those things is they're treating the thing on the screen as if it were the thing. And I prefer making my games where the thing is abstract and exists in its own universe, and the renderer is a completely separate thing. This doesn't work for all games, especially a lot of 3D games where there's physics and whatever. But still, I like having a separation, and that way I can take away my renderer, replace it with a brand new, totally different way of rendering, and go on, and the same code that runs it works. So anyway, we're gonna have one more session. So now we got that. We're gonna get the score up and running, and I wanted to get the timer. We'll see what we can do here. I'm going to have to hurry up. Today's F# language feature of the day is active pattern. So, over at MSDN, the description of active pattern has your standard, hey, here's a completely useless thing that demonstrates the syntax, and it's something that obviously looks very much like a discriminated unit, and it is. Then the very, very, very trivial demonstration for even and odd, just to get the, oh, okay, it's the input. If it modulo 2 is 0, then it's even, else it's odd. And then you go, okay, well, great, who cares? I can do this with a match, I can do this whatever. Why does it matter? Why do I care? And for this, we're going to go and we're going to take a look again at my not very idiomatic code. And over here at if the game is that, otherwise if the game is that, and so this do this thing here, and it's ugly, and it's in too much indentation, and it's silly. Now, it just so happens, when I put this in, that somebody else, his name is Stotchu, we say hi, Stotch, and he took this very same code, and he made it, and his code is very idiomatic. So, take a look, because here it is, and he put this active pattern in and said, hey, if the game is that, then human win, if otherwise it's computer win, otherwise it's game in progress. And then later it says, hey, just match the game with that. Now, match game with that, so the beautiful thing here is it's, hey, make me a function that takes something and then spits out one of however many values you have. And so when I first looked, I'm like, well, what kind of use is that? But it really does clean up the code. As you can see here, versus playing the game here where I've got the if, and it's much, much cleaner to go, hey, match game. So it's really, it really improves the readability. And it's a thing not often used. It's a more difficult part of the language to master when to use, or at least it was not completely obvious to me why I should just come like, dude, this gets the job done. And sometimes, in this case here, it is relatively simple and straightforward. This is not the worst case in the world. It is still clean. But many times it's like, well, if this and this other stuff and some other things that it is not so pretty. But in the end, make your categorization of things so that you can just put them in a match. Make these things ugly, and then make your matches pretty. And here's the reminder of just that. It's a bucketizer. You make ugly bucketizers to make pretty matches. Well, hey there. And we're back, and we're about to do some score. And I did briefly look up how to use sprite fonts, and quickly decided, yeah, that's going to be a bit. So we're just going to do our own font bitmap, our own little bitmapped font thingy. And I'm going to take my favorite set of graphics, and I'm going to chop it. Here we go. Plus, 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 plus. These are 8 by 8, and I think maybe I want a different color. Let's go with orange. That's right, I say it orange. Oops, I don't. Ugh. It's a bleed over. Just this is a tool meant for artists, not little. Nope. Every last pixel of. I want it this color or I want it this color. So my ways are strange. I still think. I do not care for this at all. Flood mode. What is that? Flood mode contiguous or global. You know what? Leave it a white font. Let's save you. Go over to our project directory. Project 1, money face content. Bitmap font. .png. There it is. Alright, we'll get it up on the screen and we'll make it better later. So in my texture, where I wire up my textures, I'm gonna call one that's going to be my bitmap font. I'll call it my score font. Score font. Actually, it's not a bad idea to call it that. Open. Am I running? I'm running. Add an existing item. Content star.star. Star.8. There are no .8 files in this. So, but we will rename that as, and everything else is smaller, so score font is no score font.png. So that's cool. There's score font. And it doesn't really matter where in here we have it. It's going to be score font and score font. And hey, good, we weren't too long. We don't have to do some dude fussing here. Okay, so now score font will be loaded. And we have to learn how to draw with score font. And let's go take care of that now. So draw the game. So we do the draw textures. So textures in sprite batch. And we're just gonna throw that in there. It's gonna draw score at and we'll have a upper left corner. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, we will totally get this done. We're going to draw the score at 36 times the board state dot board columns, 0. See, that even right here, I'm seeing that I'm multiplying by 36. I wish that I had a way to multiply locations, because this is an absolutely awful way to do it. I would just like to multiply 36, the width and height of a tile times the X and Y position. Well, let's not distract ourselves too much at this time. So let draw score XY. And we have these things as well. I know that at the very least we have to return the textures in the sprite batch so that they can get chained. So in a way, I don't need. I could also do this with fold. There's a lot of opportunities here for different ways of doing things. Maybe we'll take a look at cleaning that up, because this is really weird. This is normally what you want to do, is if there's something changed, and that's what you return. Instead of just passing it through. Just passing something through, you use fold. But we'll explore that perhaps next time. So in the draw score, I also need a score. Delta 00, so I have a board state somewhere, don't I? That board state equals load board state. Alright. And we're going to draw this score, so 00, and let's put board state dot score. And that goes here, score. Now the first thing we need to do is get the score. The score is a number, and we need a string. So let us. We've got a couple of choices really, but we're gonna go. Let's make that a string. So we're gonna say let score string equals score sprintf. Okay. %i. So now score string is a string. Score string. So what is chars? Take a look. I'm going to take a look right quick. I'm going to go look up. Go to a new window. We're going to take a look up F# strings, MSDN, because otherwise I'll get a whole bunch of things. So the string module, what can I do? Is can I get it into a list? I can probably get it into a list. Concat exists for all. Okay, creates a new string. Each character, I want to do iter. That is what I want. I want iter. So do I want iter? Because no, I do not. Because I have my position really what I want to do So I want to create a new string whose characters are the result. Don't like that either. So what else I got going on? So that's the core.string module. F# string type. Is it still strings? Alright. I want you. No, I'm really not interested in your survey. String operations. It is the .NET string type. Okay, and the chars property, which returns the string as an array of Unicode. Okay, so I really do just want the chars. So score string dot chars. What says it returns an array, right? Access into. No, I don't want to do that. Let's look. Because really, what I want is I want a list, or I want a sequence of. Really want a list. Then I want to do a list.fold in order to get this string fields. Thanks. String class. You know what? I'm going to look it up and see in a minute. Okay, one quick little addendum right here at the end. I figured out exactly what I did wrong after I had gone through and made a GitHub release and all that. So we're going to leave that as is, but I'm going to show you this is what the problem is. When I made my rectangle is XY width height, and I'm using the old idea of right and bottom. So don't add anything to the 8 and the 8, and behold what happens. And there we are. Gotta get key repeat working. Bing. All right. So we did do it. All right. See you next time. Joy of Functional Game Dev, Project 1, Episode 4.